Good evening, students. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We'll get started. So we were doing problems, right? We'll do some more problems in today's class. Tomorrow I'll start new chapter. Okay. Shall we proceed? Before that, is there any doubt that you guys have? Like from the problem that we did yesterday, do you get any doubts? So can I take it as a no? Okay, we'll go to the next one. So there are two rings of radii R and NR made from the same wire. Okay. Have the ratio of moments of inertia about an axis passing through their center equal to 1:8. The value of n is how much? Okay, there is a small trick in this problem. Can someone tell me what do they mean by same wire? See, I'll give you options. If you see the word same wire, can I say that both these rings have same mass? Can I say this?
No, sir.
Right. Why?
Sir, because they have different radius.
That's right. So what is that I can conclude? By them saying same wire, what are they indirectly trying to hit us?
Same thickness.
No. Thickness is also related to radius. Huh? See, when you take a wire, see, for example, you take a ring which has different radii. This R, this is NR. Right? Then how can the thickness be the same? Okay, you mean to say, yeah, that's right, that's right. See, actually, yeah, who told it?
Kitna, sir.
Okay, that's right. Just a minute. Yeah, what is it you told? It's their density is going to be the same, but here, what type of density are you going to define?
Linear density.
Yes. So linear density lambda is equal to mass per. Initially, for the first one, lambda 1 is how much? M by
2 pi r.
Correct? So what is lambda for the second material? M dash divided by 2 pi into n into r. So what can I say? M is equal to lambda into 2 pi r. M dash will be equal to lambda into 2 pi into nr. So it is n times lambda times 2 pi r. But what is this? What is lambda into 2 pi r? That is the mass of the first ring, correct? So what I'm trying to say is mass of the second ring is n times the mass of the first ring. Accepted? If that is the case, now the job is easy. I1 divided by I2. What is the moment of inertia of a ring about its center of mass?
MR square.
MR square divided by M dash R dash square. MR square, I am leaving it as it is. M dash is n times capital M into R is n times capital R the whole square. So M and M will get cancelled, R and R will get cancelled. 1 divided by n cube is equal to 1 divided by 8. So what is the value of n?
2.
Okay.
Sir, like how is the thickness same?
It's not the thickness, it's the density that is the same. Because whenever they talk about material, right? See, thickness is a dimension. but density is a property. Please understand the difference. So when they say same wire, they mainly speak about the density, not the thickness.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Sir, but the thickness has to be same, right?
Need not be. They never mentioned anywhere, right? Maybe see here if they mean by same wire.
Sir, if
yes.
thickness is not same,
Yeah.
then how is m dash n multiplied by n?
Because I'm talking about the density only. No. I'm talking about the density. That is the amount of mass spread over linear distance is a constant. That is what I'm trying to talk about. But yeah, logically, like how you people are saying here, same wire means, let's say this is the wire. If it is broken into two parts, yes, like the logic you use is thickness can also be same. But the thing is, here thickness has nothing to do with this problem. I repeat it again. Listen, you would have learned this in current electricity, that when there are two wires which are made from the same material, they're trying to indirectly tell you that the resistivity is same for both the materials. Nowhere you can take the concept. You know this formula, right? R is equal to rho into L divided by A. Last year you would have applied. By them saying two materials are made from the same wire, sorry, two wires are made from the same material, they are indirectly saying that the resistivity is same. Nowhere they would have spoken about length and area of cross section, because these are dimensions, whereas resistivity is a property of that material, which is a constant for a given material. So here also, when they say same wire, I'm trying to take the density to be constant. Clear? I'm not talking about the dimensions, thickness. Are you able to understand? Maybe
Yes,
this
sir.
is a wire. Maybe this is a wire looking like this. Who knows? Who knows? Then can I say that the thickness is same? No, right? But still, its density is going to be the same. Okay. Next. I hope you guys have copied it. N is equal to 2. Next, 32. Think of this problem and solve this. There is a solid sphere. There is a solid sphere of radius r which is placed on a smooth horizontal surface. A horizontal force F is applied at height h from the lowest point. Find the maximum acceleration of the center of mass, which is correct. Sorry, for the maximum acceleration of center of mass, which is correct. So how to solve this? So did you guys understand the question? Okay, there is a solid sphere like this. This is the radius r. A horizontal force is applied at a height h from the lowermost point. And if I call this force as F, then for maximum acceleration to occur, what should be the relation between this height and the radius of the object? That's the question. What do you think is the answer?
Option A.
Do you think so?
Yes, sir.
I would rather say
Sir, D, sir.
yes. There is no relation between H and R. Maybe if you're talking about torque, that makes sense. You're able to understand?
Sir, because if it's option A, then torque is maximum, right?
But here nowhere they told that the object is rolling. No? What will happen when you apply a force? Forget about this chapter. My question is very simple. What does a force do?
Sir, it's going to displace.
It is going to create a translatory motion. So translatory motion will give you acceleration, linear acceleration, correct? So for the translatory motion to occur, the force can be applied anywhere. You have nothing to do with H. Maybe if they had asked about rolling, then your answer is right. torque would have been maximum. Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Please tell.
sir, so in this question, it's like since it is a smooth horizontal surface, there is no friction, and since there is no friction, the object won't roll.
You can say that also. You can say that also, but there is a possibility that this force can make the object roll also. But again, I'm coming to the same point. Since our question is concerned only with linear acceleration, we need not think of rolling. It could have rolled also. I'm not denying the fact that it could have not rolled. Had I applied the force like this, it would have rolled. But that is not our concern. They didn't ask anything about the angular acceleration. They are concerned only about the linear acceleration. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
33rd. There is a particle of mass m which moves in the xy plane with a velocity v along the straight line AB. If the angular momentum of the particle with respect to O is L, I think it is only L, is L when it is at A. Okay. LA only. LA when it is at A and LG when it is at B, then LA is less than LB. Or LA is equal to LB or LA is greater than LB. The relation between LA and LB depends upon the slope of the line AB. How to do this problem? How to do this? This is also a tricky problem. So what is the basic formula for angular momentum? In terms of vector, it is R vector cross P vector. But you know, the problem here is you can't apply R vector cross P vector because you don't know the angles between them. Okay. From this, I can conclude it is also equal to MVR into sine theta. Can I say that? Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say? Then I will split MV and R sine theta. Okay. MV and R sine theta. This R sine theta is generally called as R perpendicular. Means the perpendicular distance with respect to the perpendicular distance from the point where you're trying to calculate the angular momentum. So you're trying to calculate with respect to origin, right? With respect to origin only, no? So R perpendicular means from here, drop a perpendicular. So whether the particle is at point A or point B, what can you say about R perpendicular? What can you say about R perpendicular? It is the same and the particle is moving with a velocity V. So here also the momentum is mv, here also momentum is mv. So what can you say about mv into R perpendicular? The whole quantity will be a
constant.
So what is the conclusion?
B.
That is the answer. So whenever you get this kind
Sir?
of a problem, right, you should always take the perpendicular distance and solve. Yeah, please tell me.
Sir, can we say that since the linear velocity is not changing, hence angular velocity is also not changing?
No. Because angular momentum depends on linear momentum and the perpendicular distance. Without speaking about perpendicular distance, you cannot conclude that. Then in all problems, what will happen if object has a constant linear momentum, then you can say object has constant angular momentum also. Then this will become an ignored parameter, which is wrong. Okay.
So then can you give an example where the linear velocity is constant, whereas angular velocity is changing?
Linear velocity is constant, whereas angular velocity is changing. Whereas angular velocity is changing.
Yes, sir.
You mean to say there is an object? See, whenever you talk about angular velocity, the object has to be in a circular or a rotational motion. When the angular velocity itself is changing with respect to time, then you can't maintain the linear velocity constant. Right? There is no possibility like that. Because when you talk about a rigid body, what did I say? Every particle, if an object is put into revolution with an angular velocity omega, then every particle within that solid will have same amount of angular velocity. But what will change? It will be the linear velocity. Maybe your question could have been about linear momentum and angular momentum.
So then can we see the opposite? Like if linear velocity is constant, then angular velocity is also constant. Like if we cannot say that if linear velocity,
you are getting confused between two parameters. Here there is no question of angular velocity. With respect to this question, there is no angular velocity. What is the reason for it? This keyword, straight line. So how will you define angular velocity for an object in a straight line? Okay. Maybe you have to think only in terms of angular momentum. So to give you an example of where angular momentum would change, had the object been moving in this kind of a path, and the question was like this, you need to measure the angular momentum with respect to origin, then things would have changed. Because what happens is the perpendicular distance with respect to this point and this point will not be the same. Okay. That time the answer would have been slight. Yeah.
Sir, so if angular momentum is changing, then linear momentum is also changing if the object is rolling.
Angular momentum is changing. Why are you putting both these things into picture? This is an example where a linear momentum is taken into consideration. I cannot say there. What are the parameters on which angular momentum is dependent on? Look at this and tell me.
So the linear momentum and
okay,
the distance from the center.
Now you yourself think, what is your question? What is your question? Repeat it again.
Sir, if the angular momentum changes, then does the linear momentum change?
Need not be, no. The angular momentum could be a changing parameter because of r vector, where p is a constant.
Okay, sir,
right.
Got it.
Got it. So L by R will be equal to MP, maybe something like this, so that L is changing, R is also changing, but the ratio can be a constant. Who knows? Depends on the scenario, okay?
Yes, sir, got it.
Yeah. Next one. So there is a disk rolling on an inclined plane. What is the ratio of the kinetic energy to the rotational kinetic energy to the total kinetic energy? Do it fast. What is the answer? How to solve? So rotational kinetic energy is equal to half I omega square, or half into I into omega is how much? V square divided by R square, correct? So half into I is how much?
MR square by 2.
Into V square divided by R square. Cancel it. So mv square by 4 is the rotational kinetic energy. What is the total kinetic energy? Half I omega square plus half mv square. So it will be 3 by 4 mv square. Right, because half I omega square, we already got it as mv square by 4. Add it to half mv square, it will give you 3 by 4 mv square. So divide both mv square by 4 divided by 3 mv square by 4. What is the answer?
153.
Okay. Next, 35th question. The acceleration of a solid cylinder rolling down an inclined plane of inclination 30 degrees is how much? Yesterday I derived the formula, right? So look at the acceleration formula. A is equal to g sine theta divided by 1 plus
A square upon R square.
k square upon r square. So g into sine 30 degrees divided by 1 plus, what is the value of k for a solid cylinder?
So root over 2 by 5 R.
That is for a sphere, cylinder. Cylinder and disk are same. So it will be r by
mr square by 2. Sir.
Yeah, r square by 2 divided by r square. Because k is r by root 2, k square is r square by 2. G into sine 30 is half the plus 1 by 1 plus half. How much is that? G by 2 divided by 3 by 2. G by 3. Is there an option? That is the answer. Okay. I think we are done with MCQs. We'll do some problems that are based on assertion reason. This might be slightly tricky. Let's try to answer it. Position of center of mass of rigid body is independent of the reference frame. Is that right? Position of center of body, position of center of mass of rigid body is independent of the reference frame. Answer is true. So center of mass of a rigid body depends only on its mass, correct? Does it depend only on its mass? It also depends on the distribution of mass. So this is false. So true, false, option C. What about 37? 37, we have done problems. You guys tell me, no? The total kinetic energy of a rolling solid sphere is the sum of the translational and rotational kinetic energies, correct?
Yes, sir.
For that matter, it can be any rolling object. It is true. For all solid bodies, total kinetic energy is always twice the translational kinetic energy. Is that right?
No, sir.
Need not be. So I can give you an example. See, for example, in this problem, where a disk was rolling, the rotational kinetic energy was mv square by 4. Whereas the translational kinetic energy is half mv square. Is it twice? Obviously not. Oh, no, it is not. It is false. So A is true, but R is false. 38. The center of mass of a proton and electron related from their respective positions remain at rest. Yes or no? So this problem is something. This problem is something similar to 2m and 2m. Yesterday, remember they were separated by distance r. When they came to a distance of separation of r by 2, you remember? What did we say about the center of mass? The position was unchanged, right? Because these two particles started moving due to the internal forces. In a similar way, when you talk about a proton and electron will have an internal attractive force because of the positive and the negative charge. So the center of mass with respect to this kind of a system is something similar to this. Now you think and tell me what is the answer.
Sir, but the electron is revolving around the proton, right?
Okay, let it revolve, but the relative displacement is still the same, no? It is revolving in what kind of an orbit? It's a circular orbit, right? Then if it is going to be here or here or here, wherever it is going to be, when the distance of separation is still going to be the same, right? When the distance of separation is still going to be the same, then you can say that the center of mass is still at the same position. It is intact. Okay.
Sure, but it's also not necessary that it revolve in a circular orbit.
Then how is it going to revolve?
Sure, it can also revolve like a wave, right?
You're talking about orbital concept and all. I'm sticking to Bohr's concept. Okay. So if you talk about the Bohr's concept, the center of mass of a proton and electron, if you talk about the motion of an electron, in basic physics point of view, electron revolves in a circular motion. I'm not getting into the chemical details of it. Okay, because you're taking
Okay, sir.
Okay. So electron revolves in a circular orbit related to their respective positions. It remains at rest. Answer is true. So what is the reason for it? I already explained. The center of mass will remain at rest if there is no external force. There is no external force applied on the atom. It is what? It is because of the electrostatic force it is revolving. So this is also true. But is the reason the supporting explanation for assertion? Yes. The 39th, let's not worry about. 40th. The size and shape of a rigid body remains unaffected under the effect of external forces. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that is the definition of rigid body, so it is true. So distance between the two particles remains constant in a rigid body. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is. So is reason the right explanation for assertion?
Yes, sir.
A or B?
A.
Correct. Okay. So we are done with assertion reason also. We will do some problems that are based on the case study. So flywheel and swing machine. So there is a difference between the inertia and moment of inertia of a body. Inertia depends on the mass of the body, but moment of inertia depends about the axis, about an axis. Sorry, moment of inertia about an axis depends on the mass of the body and the distribution of mass about its axis. We know this thing, right? So in the following figure, the mass of the two wheels are exactly equal, but in wheel A, the mass is uniformly distributed, and in wheel B, most of the mass is situated at its rim. Okay. At its rim, the gray color part. Both the wheels rotate about an axis passing through the center. Okay. It is noticed that while the two wheels are set into rotation and left, wheel B continues rotating for a longer time. This means that the moment of inertia of wheel B is greater than wheel A. Okay. Also, greater is the part of the mass of the body away from the axis of rotation, greater is the moment of inertia of the body about the axis. Such a wheel is known as a flywheel. So consider a foot-operated sewing machine. It has two wheels, one big and one small. So one small is generally used near the hand. Bigger one will be closer to the leg. The wheels are connected by a rope. The bigger wheel acts as a flywheel. The rope transfers the motion from this flywheel to the smaller wheel. Smaller wheel works as a pulley and also as a small flywheel. So this is the small flywheel. Did you guys see this kind of a machine? So this is a big flywheel. From here, there will be a rope that is going across the smaller one. What they will do is generally the tailors, they will rotate this. They will rotate the smaller wheel. Once it is rotated, it will transfer energy to this one, and this bigger one will be put into rotation, and they will start pedaling this. Okay. And what will happen? This needle is there, no, that will keep going in and out, and it will be under a vibrational motion. Okay. So we see even a stop supply of driving force to the bigger wheel, it still continues to run for a short time because of its moment of inertia. So flywheel acts as an energy reservoir. Energy reservoir, it is able to store energy and supply mechanical energy when required. The kinetic energy stored in the flywheel is given as half I omega square because it is purely into rotational motion. Okay. Sometimes what will happen, the story and the questions will have no relevance. Let's see. Which of the following statements is true? First one, moment of inertia depends on the total mass. and distribution of mass from the axis of rotation. Second, as mass of an object is distributed away from the axis of rotation, the moment of inertia decreases. Third, if the masses of the two objects are equal, then their moment of inertia are equal. Fourth, inertia depends on the total mass and distribution from the axis of rotation. So which one is right among the four?
Option A, sir.
Correct. So what is wrong in option B? As mass of an object is distributed away from the axis of rotation, moment of inertia increases. If the masses of the two objects are equal, then their moment of inertia are equal. No. Why?
Sir, it depends as well as on distribution of mass.
Yes, it depends on the distance as well. Inertia depends on the total mass and the distribution of mass from the axis of rotation. So what is wrong here?
It's moment of inertia, not inertia.
This is not there, then it is right. Correct? How many flywheels are there in foot-operated swing machine? Easy. Two. Third, we see even we stop supply of driving force to the bigger wheel of foot-operated swing machine, it still continues to run actually, okay? It continues to run for a short time. If the rim of this flywheel is not high, is made thicker, then what will happen? So why is it running for a longer time?
Because moment of inertia is more.
Okay. Now, if it is made thicker, then what will happen? If the rim is made even more thicker, then what would have happened?
Mass would increase.
Mass would increase, as a result of which what will increase?
Moment of
mass
inertia
increases, moment of inertia increases, due to which the rotational time is it going to increase or decrease after you remove the external force? The rotational time will also
increase.
That is what they told in the passage. No? It is not able to come back to rest because of the moment of inertia. So it will run for, so what is the option? It will run for shorter period when driving force is stopped. No. It will run for the same period. No. It will run for a longer period. Yes. It will stop immediately when the driving force. No.
Sir?
Please tell me.
Sir, if bigger wheel has more moment of inertia, then why don't cars have bigger wheels?
Because the application is different. No? The application is different, no? Because it depends who's pulling the wheels of the car.
The motor.
It is the engine, the motor, right? The engine is there. No? The amount of acceleration you give depends on that value. But your objective, the moment, what is that you are going to achieve by having greater moment of inertia? You know why they are speaking about the moment of inertia concept in this case? Because if you don't give enough moment of inertia to this wheel, let's think of it logically, okay? Then I'll come to the car. I'm not going to skip it. I'll come to that. Think of this, no? There is a tailor who's sitting and stitching, okay? This is going to be in complete oscillating motion. So, do you think this is a tiring job or is it an enjoyable job? What is your opinion? Is it tiring or do you think people can work continuously on this?
So not completely continuous, but
yes, it is slightly a tiring job. Why? What process in this actually makes it a tiring job?
Sir, we have to keep oscillating our foot.
It is this pedal actually. Okay. So it is this pedal. So what they do is the design of this machine is thought in such a way that if you give enough small amount of driving force in this, you're able to achieve maximum efficiency from this. Because you want the flywheel to be in continuous rotation even when the driving force is removed, so that the person who is switching is at some ease. Does that make sense? To stop it immediately only, to have a control of applying brake, because there is no brake here. Like if you think of a car, in the center thing, whatever you have is a brake. The center pedal is a brake. But the smaller flywheel is there. No, this will act as a brake for this. So whenever they want, they will try to stop it. Okay. You're able to understand. So here, why they are not trying to, there is a specific amount of thickness already designed, because they would have done all the calculations and calculations to ensure that this process becomes smooth. Now, what did they say in this case? When you use a thicker rim, what will happen? The bigger flywheel will run for some more time. Then why do you think they don't use bigger rim? Let's think from a practical point of view. If this is in continuous rotation, what would have happened? Let's say the dress has got completely stitched. If it is in continuous rotation, you have not stopped it, what will happen? There will be one particular point where this needle will keep continuously stitched. So what will happen to your dress? Obviously, it's gone. You're able to understand. See, I'm not sure if you guys are able to relate it. I'm talking in an engineering perspective, but just an attempt to make you understand why it is important. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say? At least you're able to think of the scenario. Please give me that confirmation.
Yes,
you're able to think of, right? You're able to think of it, right? What is going to happen? So this is how the brakes are applied in this case. Whereas with respect to a car, what is more important? It is the safety. Right? So I'm not sure if you have heard, driving a lorry is very difficult. You think it is easy. Have you ever seen the steering wheel of a lorry or the public transport bus and all? Have you ever seen the driver turning it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You saw how big it is going to be, because that that steering will be connected to the axle, and that axle will put the wheels, the front wheel into rotation, which will drive the back wheel. Okay. Imagine if the same amount of wheels, like you asked the question why the wheels of car are not big. Same kind of a principle is there in car also. What will happen to you? You will feel like as if you're driving a lorry. You will not have that much of comfort. You will not even enjoy it. Okay. So that is the reason. So that you are able to achieve maximum efficiency with minimum input. That is the main application of mechanical engineering. Any machine in this world is designed for, you take a simple pulley, no? I'll give you a simple example. You think of it, no? Let's say you're going to a gym. Okay, you're doing some workout for your biceps. So you have the dumbbells, right? So tell me one thing, is lifting the dumbbell under dead weight easy? Or if I give you a machine with a pulley where you just pull the rope and you work out for your biceps, which one is easy?
The pulley one, sir.
Logically. So that's why pulley is also called as a simple mission, because missions are those things which make your life easy. Okay. So same logic.
Sir, but if we ignore the comfort point of view, then if the cars had bigger wheels, then would less force be required?
No, not less force will be required. No, you think of the steering wheel. No, it is something similar. This is the steering wheel. This is the car wheel. Imagine. No? And secondly, what will happen? Do you know to drive car?
No, sir.
Open it? No, right? Okay. Generally, what happens is sometimes when you give okay, you would have seen bike at least, right? Like bike, what happens? Sometimes people accelerate and remove their hand, right? How is it able to move? Because of the momentum you have already given to it. The driving force is already removed. Right? In a similar way, on an accelerator also, if you remove the leg from your pedal, the car still keeps running. Had the wheels been big, while you apply brakes, you need to apply more amount of brake to bring it to rest. Are you able to understand? Which is again a point of safety concern. So that is why they control. Okay. And obviously the shape and all those aerodynamics factors also come into picture. If you study mechanical engineering, maybe you will have a better clarity on what you're going to do. So that is the reason actually. Anything you design, first concern is safety. Okay. So that's the logic. So energy stored in a flywheel is what? So flywheel is under what kind of a motion? Rotational, translational, rolling. Which one is right?
Rotational.
So option 1, wrong. Option 2, we don't know what it is. Option 3, we don't know what it is. Option 4, right. Fifth one, you guys tell me, which one of the following wheel have same mass will have the highest moment of inertia about an axis passing through the center?
Option D.
That's it. More mass is distributed at a greater distance. That's it. Okay, I think next one is easy. Let's do it fast. Are based on the given text. Read the following text carefully and answer the following questions. Torque is equal to dl by dt. L is equal to I omega. So torque is equal to if no torque is applied on an object, I omega is a constant. So this is known as the conservation of angular momentum. This law has several applications in sports and dance. When a man with outstretched hands holding weights in each hand stands on a revolving turnable, he attains certain angular velocity. If he pulls the weight towards the body, there is an increase in the angular velocity. Why is it so? Greater the moment of inertia, lesser is the angular velocity. Right. Similarly, when a diver jumps from a springboard and performs somersaults, he or she folds his legs and arms to decrease his moment of inertia. Consequently, his or her angular velocity increases. The diver, instead of turning 180 degree, now can turn 360 degree. The other day, someone asked this question. I hope this point has answered your question, right? So, why does the diver stretch her arm and leg while touching the water? To do what?
To decrease the moment of inertia.
Sorry?
Option C, sir.
Here, to decrease his or her moment of inertia. Second, if the torque is applied on a rotating body, its angular velocity changes, its moment of inertia changes, its angular velocity remains unchanged. Both its moment of inertia changes and angular velocity changes. Which one is right?
Option A.
That's right. Because torque is equal to I alpha. When torque is non-zero, moment of inertia of an object is fixed about a given axis. It will not change. Okay. Whereas alpha will change. When alpha changes, what did you understand? When will alpha change? Only when the angular velocity changes. So option A is right. 8. When a man with outstretched hands holding weights in each hand, standing on a revolving terminal, pulls the weight towards his body, then what will happen? There will be a decrease in angular velocity due to the increase in moment of inertia. Right or wrong?
Wrong, sir.
Wrong. There will be an increase in angular velocity due to the decrease in moment of inertia. Right or wrong?
Right, sir.
That is right. Third option, let's see why. There is a decrease in angular velocity due to increase in moment of inertia. Wrong. There will be an increase in angular velocity due to the increase in moment of inertia. Wrong. Because as far as angular momentum is concerned, what should happen? Moment of inertia and angular velocity are inversely proportional. Increase, here it should decrease. So in which of the following positions the moment of inertia of the ballet dancer will be minimum?
D.
Option D.
Very good. In which of the positions of the diver the angular velocities are maximum and minimum?
So maximum is option A.
Correct. So angular velocity has to be minimum, moment of inertia has to be maximum.
Minimum is, I think, option B.
Minimum, actually, it is difficult to conclude because this one and this one are looking similar. Let's forget about minimum. I don't think that is the intention of the question.
But it won't be B,
Sir,
right?
but in B, it will be more, right?
Which one? In D?
No, sir, in B, sir. B is the
B,
distribution of masses.
If I take this as the axis of rotation, first of all, it's a linear position. I don't know which point to take as the axis of rotation. If I take it into the plane like this, then yes, this is right. Yeah, B will be the right answer. Correct. So the axis of rotation will be into the plane. It will be into the plane, something like this. Then B is right for for minimum angular velocity. Because in other position, at least there is a bend. I told you, right? Angular velocity will come into picture only when there is a curvature. That's it. Right? We are done with this assignment also. So I'll do one thing. I'll share this assignment exactly with whatever I've written on top of it. All these annotations will come to you. You can have a look at it. Right? So I'm hoping that this chapter you guys are comfortable, right? We have covered all the models of problems. There is nothing that is better. You guys will be able to answer?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So tomorrow, can I start gravitation? It's a very small chapter, maximum 2 classes. Because I think they have deleted also some portions. We'll be able to complete it by next Monday, maximum by next Tuesday. That's it. With that, we'll be done with term 1 portions. Then we'll try to do some assignments and some worksheets. Okay. So that's it from my side for today. We can log off if there is more of that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I'll see you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.